My name is Chintan Sheth. I'm a real estate developer from Mumbai. I have been in this industry for a long time. For my daily things, FSI, calculations, approvals, files, babus, construction sites, those are the kind of things, glamorous things that I deal with, things that you don't put on Instagram. In short, on paper, I build buildings. For a long time, this was enough. It was enough for me to say to anyone, what do you do? I build buildings. But then I realized that, we're just adding to the concrete of the skyline in Mumbai, not doing anything beyond that. And what is the real purpose? What is the real meaning? Maybe you're missing out on something. And that's why I'm here to talk to you about going beyond the mere brick and mortar and asking the questions. Questions like, how are we impacting the lives of the people? How are we shaping the future of our city and our communities? And today I'm going to talk more about that. So my family's been in this business for about 4 decades now. And since I took over way back in 2008-9, and under my leadership, we've done a lot of work. We've launched more than 12 projects, sold more than 3,000 apartments, delivered more than 1,800 homes, and done probably sales of over 5 to 6,000 crore rupees. These are big numbers, right? They're on the screen, they look very impressive. But for a while, these numbers were enough for me to define my success. These numbers also tell a story of how large number of people, many families, thousands of families, maybe lakhs of people have put their trust in us as developers, trust in us with their savings, their life savings, and we can help them create their dream homes. They also have given us a legacy which I have to live with, I have to deal with on a daily basis, and at the same time, I cannot take it for granted. As I was saying, for a long time, I used to measure my success by buildings. How many square foot have we built? How many sales have we done? What kind of revenues we have generated? But then that was not enough, right? After a few years, you start questioning, oh, it's just numbers all the time. And then you start thinking of life in a very different way. How many lives you've impacted? How many communities have you helped develop or have you helped strengthen? Or if the project that you make today, is it going to be valuable? Is it going to add a positive impact to the community 10, 20, 30 years from now? So this change, this transition from then and now did not happen overnight. It happened through a series of experiences that I went through. The most important of which is when I visited one of my father's sites. This was a site developed by him before I had joined business. A very old project, not been visited by me or my family members for a long while. I went there as a complete stranger. But when I reached there, I was a stranger at all. Those people knew me, they knew my name, and they welcomed me into their homes, and we had a fantastic discussion. I heard so many stories about them, their lives. Those stories weren't about the facade or the elevation or the size of the lobby or the materials we had used inside the apartment. These stories were about the kind of community that had developed there, the people that had come to live together there, and how the children had grown up together. And now neighbors who were now, had become friends and even business partners. One of the person who lived there told me that the decision of shifting from wherever he was to this project was one that changed his life completely. His business grew, his children had better opportunities, his social circle expanded. That was very, very much a singular point he contributed to his growth in his life. So this was something that I took away from that meeting. And on the way back from that visit, I asked myself again and again, so what is it that we are doing here? And it struck me that my father had not just built one project or one building. He had actually made a platform for relationships to grow, platform opportunities to come, and a platform for a different future. And that's where we come to the next part of this question, is that where, why and where? And then the answer comes that, we're not just building buildings. When we do developments, when we design, large layouts, we are actually shaping the lives of people, right? How they commute, how they interact with each other, what friendships develop because the children play together, how they celebrate their festivals, and how they actually live their life and sometimes even helping with the health. If you make a good development with a lot of light and air and ventilation, with good walking places, you're also influencing their health. So this is going beyond mere designing of square feet. And that's where something that I really come to believe in is that people, leaders especially, who go beyond just designing or constructing square foot and look at designing the lives, the communities, and the futures of people are the ones who will hold the future. So this transition came about in 2-3 major ways. This thought process transition that happened within our company psychology. Shift from thinking of product and trying to think of impact. Now, this might sound very simple, right? Oh, instead of product, we're going to think about impact. Such a simple line. But let me explain to you. Say a product, for example, is anything, right? In our case, it is square feet, it is the size of the apartment, it is the configuration of the unit, it's the number of car parking spaces, or what is the price you're selling at, or what revenue you're going to get. That's the kind of stuff when you think only product and you design. But that's not enough. Because if you start thinking of impact and then you start really addressing it from a different point of view. Excel sheets matter. Of course, some of you are all students here. So this is something that you deal with on a daily basis. But beyond Excel sheets also exists the reality, and you have to face it, live it to be able to understand what the impact is. A second thing is designing for citizens and not customers. Now, this is basically coming from the idea of you need to think of the end user's end use versus just the buyer profile or the customer, the target audience, right? I'll give you a classic example. A swimming pool. A swimming pool is a standard amenities that is advertised and offered in almost all large layouts today, right? Anywhere you go, you might be seeing ads in newspapers, on your Instagram, on your Facebooks. You'll see ads with swimming pools, people sitting around enjoying. So we had one such dilemma few years ago, again, a real life story. This is a project very close to here. It's in Dahisar, a very large land. We could have easily accommodated a nice swimming pool in that property. But my marketing team, sales team, both were on. They said, sir, we have to put a swimming pool. If we don't, we're going to look weak. Our amenity list is going to look shorter and our glamour factor will go down. Our sales will not happen. I said, wait, all right, no worries. Let's have a look on the ground. So this is something I did personally. I went to the ground. I spoke to local brokers, to some society and committee chair people also who lived in the projects in the vicinity, and actual families also, some of them. And the question we asked was simple: what do you think about having a swimming pool in your property? How often do you use it? And what are the pain points? And the trend that came out was absolutely the same. Everybody loves a swimming pool. Nobody said no, we don't want one. But then when you probed a little further, how many times do you really use it? Not much. And then what is the actual pain point? The actual pain point only was told by the father of the family, who said, every month that maintenance that goes from my account now hits me, because the swimming pool I see every day and nobody's using it. So we took a very, very, non-conventional call of not putting a swimming pool in that project. That project is now almost 8 years old, and I'm sure those people are happy for it, because instead of the swimming pool, we gave a much larger community space. We used that extra fund to give more practical space that did not pinch the pockets of those people. So this is what I meant by thinking of customers, not customers, but citizens, right? Because the customer will come to you, will look at features at the time of a sale, but the citizen has to live those features for the rest of his life. The last point I want to talk about is project completion is the real beginning. Basically, when a developer, or in any case, whenever you sell a product, right? If you're not in the real estate industry, you're making some other products. The moment you make that sale happen, 90% of your worries are over. You've sold a product, the guy is gone, taken it home and he's using it, and your work is done. Real estate is not typical. Real estate is different, because the moment, the day the handover happens, people start moving in, is the day the actual project starts. The life is breathed into that project on that very day. After that is the time we realize that we have to be part of this process and not think like the builders of old, where we exit at time of handover. So we decided that, post handover, we will engage ourselves reasonably, not too much, but we will be there to the customers, for the customers, at the time of society formation, at the time of celebrations, at even time of, maybe a leak appeared in a building, or a maintenance issue happened, a lift malfunction. For all those kind of things, we will be there to help them. Because, people don't remember the day they signed that agreement. Nobody does. But people do remember that, the day you showed up when there was a problem, or you stood by them when they're going through a difficult time. So this is another thing where we wanted to add value to the community and going beyond what is absolutely the basic requirement of any business. So I will just summarize this into 2-3 points that are very like my main principles on which I've started to do business since the last decade or so. So first is obviously start with humanity and not geometry. It's very, very tempting to look at any plot of land and start planning the building. You already make a nice fancy building, good elevation, nice entrance lobby, amenities, swimming pool, and get lost in that whole, that sales side, marketing side of life. But the real question is that, or something that I try very purposefully to do, is to first connect with the people, ask the questions with respect to who's going to live there, what kind of lives they are going to have, where are they going to come from, if there are going to be elders, if this is a larger apartment, then how are the elders going to live, where are the children going to stay, what are the other aspects of life are we going to improve for them? Because from this feedback, that we get is where we get our very critical design inputs that we use then later to give to our architects so that they can plan the building accordingly. So the question is, humanity, okay, is followed by geometry, right? Not the other way around. And something that I have taken this to heart is that the brand is not built in the moments that you see on the hoardings, on the advertising boards, on the logos that you put up, but the brand is actually built in the moments that no one sees. The real estate brand especially is something that is decided by the everyday decisions you make. It's about like the choice of material, for example, choosing a cheaper, faster one versus something that will take more time to build or execute, but at the same time will be safer and longer lasting. It could even be deciding on giving over promising a possession date so that the sales of that project in the next quarter might be faster. It could even be working with architects and designers in a format where you're just looking at FSI and not looking at the apartments, the ventilation, the air, and the product overall. So lot of aspects. And this is where the brand matters, right? Because the brand is built in the moment no one sees means what? The brand is built in all those decisions where you've decided not to prioritize your profits, not to prioritize, profits are important, don't get me wrong, I'm here to do business, but to prioritize creating value for the customer. And last, I feel a very important aspect in my industry, because real estate can become very ego driven, right? You make a development, you make a building, you realize that it's a tangible thing that stays every day. And you start thinking, oh, this is my project, my vision, my, and the ego builds up. And then you tend to forget. You don't forget, you tend to stop listening to people around you. And that's where you have to keep realizing that actually great places, great developments happen only when there is teamwork. And in real estate, the teamwork and collaboration is quite a lot. There are architects, planners, designers, contractors, engineers, approving authorities, financiers, sales, marketing. There's a whole lot of people. And at the end of the day, the customers who come. So all of these together decide whether a project becomes successful in the long run or not, right? So what does this mean for us? It means that we have to listen, and we have to create an environment where we are able to get the right feedback from all the community. Maybe a junior architect in someone's office will question a layout, and maybe that might really be the trigger point. Or an engineer at a site will decide, this process of doing something is not right. He's questioned something and he wants to change and improve it. And that might be very useful. So for my job as a leader is not to become a hero, right? Not to become a hero with all the answers, but to actually just be someone who brings everybody together and listens to the right feedback for the development and betterment of the project. This is another important aspect that I think all of you will go in life and learn, that listening and learning feedback is super critical. And that will decide sometimes whether you have that extra oomph or edge in life or not. So all these things together gave me a few leadership lessons that obviously I learned from this industry, but they don't necessarily apply only to real estate. First is, what you decide today defines tomorrow. Now, this might sound like absolute cliche, but nothing is more closer to the reality of life than this. And it's not just about, long-term vision as an aspect that you put on a board somewhere in your office or you write it down in a notebook or you put it up in a presentation. Long-term vision has to become the decision filter for all your daily decisions. So unless you have clarity of long-term vision, unless you have clarity of deciding what your really core values are and what you want to go for, without doing that, your daily decisions will not take you anywhere. And if you have clarity, if you are sure you want to build a brand, you want to create communities, you want to build trust, and you want to go the long distance, then your daily yeses and daily nos will change completely, right? So long-term vision reshapes every decision you make. Second, something that is very important to my industry is that trust is the ultimate asset. You are talking about land and FSI and revenue and all sorts of other things. But what really, really matters and the most important in all transactions is the trust that has been built between maybe the buyer and the seller, maybe the landlord and the developer, and the architect and the engineers. All of them, if there's no trust in the process, the trust in the brand, trust in the overall vision of the development, then there is going to be a lot of problems for you in the long run. Because, markets will go up and down, projects will get delayed, regulations will change, right? Things will happen because that's life. But if you have character and your character is intact, then rebuilding is easy. Without character, any kind of all the world's advertising or marketing will not get you where you want to go. Another one is grounded in reality, obsessed with possibility. What this means is that, like, if you're dealing in an industry like mine, on a daily basis, I'm dealing with regulatory uncertainty, right? Every day, if some rules change, some new norms come, I'm always firefighting. I'm dealing with n number of different authorities, contractors, laborers, finance issues, cash flows, all sorts of stuff. So that's my daily life. But if I only think of that, then I will become, a cynical old man by the time I'm 40. And that's what happens if you only think of the negatives. At the same time, you have to also think of the positives, the creative part of the business, where you can see a piece of land and you can see the opportunity that it provides and the potential that you can develop and the lives you can impact, the communities you can build, the kind of extraordinary work you can do. So the real balance is between being grounded in reality, which is knowing your constraints, your boundaries, and the uncertainties that come with work, but at the same time being constantly there looking at the big picture. So being grounded in reality, but being bold enough to imagine a better possibility. A very important aspect, especially if you're working in the Indian industry, people will be hammering down on you all the time. So you have to stick to what you want, what your vision is, and what possibilities you've seen that the others have not. And last, because this industry is very, very entrenched in people, right? You are dealing with not just a product, you're dealing with people's lives, their entire securities, their family securities. So empathy, it becomes a very, very important aspect of the business. And which is why I take it as a leadership lesson that not just in real estate, but in any field of life, having empathy goes a long way in finding solutions. Moving forward, I want to pose a question to all of you. Well, a bunch of questions actually. They're not specific to real estate industry and they can be applied to any walk of life, any field. I'm hoping some of you might become real estate guys. Some of you might join other industries. But whatever field you enter, whatever you choose, I feel you must always ask yourself this, that am I building something that I will want my family or my loved ones, my close ones to experience? This sounds very cliche, I know, but I'm here after 15 years of experience and back to square one asking that every time. Because that question, when you personalize something or personalize product design, it brings the real value out. The second thing is that am I creating value that outlasts my profit? One is obviously the Excel sheet mathematics you do before any development or project or anything that you're doing in life, an enterprise. You'll create a business model, a cash flow plan, a P&L account, and so on and so forth. But you have to ask if you are going to be able to create value, any level of value that will outlast, not immediate value, which is transactional, but value over time. Then you're in for the long run. No one can push you out because you are thinking 2, 5, 10 steps ahead of your competition. And the last one is something that is, if it applies to your field, will this make someone's life better, quality of life better, commute easier, more convenient, easier access, any kind of similar questions. If you ask these questions and if you are saying yes to these kind of questions to yourself on a daily basis, or whenever you're working on projects, you probably already are thinking beyond buildings. You all already are thinking beyond product, right? You're already thinking like leaders. So last thing, legacy that I came with for me was not taken for granted. I didn't inherit it. At least I don't believe I inherited it. I have to build that legacy every day. It's built in the small decisions that I make every day. A lot of difficult no's that I say, right? A lot of effort, everything that I do to get out of bed every day to push forward with my vision. That is live example of my legacy building out. So my takeaway is that choose the right thing, choose what matters, and the rest will follow. Thank you.